Hello, Aaron Kubitz, personal trainer at Functional Aesthetics EC, where we're helping average guys perform better in their lives inside and outside the gym. In today's video, I'm going to go over a common fallacies when it comes to trying to lose weight, trying to get fit, and that is the idea of that the top priority of your workout is to burn calories. Hence, that a good workout is one that burns more calories than a workout that doesn't burn as many calories. So with this mindset, going out there and running 5 miles would be better than lifting weights for that same 35, 45, 50 minute period of time with that mentality. Now, problem with this is that over time, our body adapts to the stimulus that we provide for it, right? So, when you are doing a lot of running and everything like that, and you're burning these calories off, your body is going to, over time, adjust its rate of burn down to compensate for that, unless, of course, you are cramming in a ton of calories to keep the calories revved up. Now, in the case of an elite endurance athlete, that could be actually a beneficial thing, right? Because you don't want to hit the wall, like they say when you're running a marathon, right? And you can run out of your glycogen stores and things like that. So the ability to conserve energy over time could be a beneficial thing. Same thing goes for your diet, right? So if you are eating very low calories for a prolonged period of time, your metabolic rate will down-regulate. And the more times you do this, the harder it will be to bring it back up to the starting point. So for example, if you're 300 pounds and you go on this really strict diet and you drop down to, let's say, 225 pounds, but then you decide to go back to your normal eating, well, you no longer have the metabolism that you had as a 300-pound person. Number one, because you're no longer 300 pounds, and so the amount of energy required to move a 225-pound person around is not going to be as much as a 300-pound person. But above and beyond that, you're also going to have less. Your metabolism will just be slower in general too. So now you're going to be gaining that weight back, and not having the same metabolic rate as you did when you were the heavier person. So you might even gain even more weight back. So what is the solution to this? So rather than focusing on trying to burn more calories, what we should focus on is trying to make our metabolic machinery, or how many calories that we're burning just at rest, make that higher so that we can cut as little calories as possible and still see some changes in our body composition. Now, if you are new to exercise, chances are that you don't have a high, an optimal body composition, right? So you maybe don't have a lot of muscle and you don't have a lot of strength, right? And so what we'd want to do first is to try to increase your levels of strength, increase your levels of lean muscle, which is going to make it so that you're going to be able to burn more calories simply while you're sitting at rest, okay? Now, if you are somebody that has a lot of excess weight that's going to be hard in your joints and everything, you don't need to be going and doing some really hardcore workouts and things like that. Sometimes simply just getting down into a push-up position, standing back up, doing that 20 times or whatever might be a good start, right? Going for a walk, doing this on a regular basis, and then and while also focusing on increase that protein and keeping that which will ultimately make it so that you do inadvertently eat less calories over time. And once you get down to that level where you are, you're not carrying as much weight, so you can start doing more intensive exercise, then start focusing on that. So the main goal of this video is people that, have maybe, 10 to 20 pounds of weight that they'd like to lose. So rather than focusing right away on trying to lose that weight, what they'd want to do is focus on getting in shape first. And the reason for this is because when you have plenty of calories coming in, when you have plenty of energy coming in, it's a lot easier to stay motivated about going and exercising than if you're also trying to reduce your calories at the same time that you're trying to adapt new habits of exercise, right? So and you're going to have more fuel, which is going to be more optimal for building that lean muscle, right? With that being said, during this time period, we do want to focus on eating better quality foods, right? So focus on eating, more whole foods. So instead of eating chips, potato chips and stuff like that, eat an actual potato. Eating more things like, the oatmeal with, eggs, have more up your protein, right? So for example, a good range to shoot for is what is the lean body weight that you want to have, so that, say for example, you're like 225 pounds and your lean body mass right now is maybe only like 170 pounds. So shooting for maybe 170 grams of protein, maybe even up to 190 grams of protein, because like maybe you're going to build a little bit extra muscles too at the same time, but try to eat that amount of protein per day. And that doesn't mean, and protein is very filling. One of the advantages is it'll naturally cause you to eat a little bit less simply because of that, and it's going to help you to preserve your muscle, right, while you are doing that as well. Now, you might think 170 grams of protein is a lot of protein to eat, right? And you'd have no problem eating 170 grams of carbs though, right? So instead of thinking about, well, I have to eat this 170 grams of protein all day, rather think, okay, let's split this up into, 4 different meals, right? So if you're going to have, so that would be probably roughly 50 grams, if you're eating 3 meals a day, 50 to 60 grams of protein at each meal. Now that might be quite a lot for you, so maybe you want to, have a couple smaller meals, right? And have where you're having more like 30 to 40 grams of protein in these meals. But every time you eat, that's how much protein you should be planning on eating when you do eat. And in the beginning, especially because your body actually does not want to be severely overweight. Now, if you're trying to get down to like 4% body fat, which is not necessarily in the healthy range, but for a bodybuilding competition, you want to be as lean as possible, then it's going to be a lot harder. But your body actually wants to be leaner and healthier naturally. And so if you are giving your body the right foods and the right stimulus through exercise, it's going to trend to and want to go that direction. So why this all matters is because in the beginning, you might find that, man, I have a really hard time eating that amount of protein. Don't worry about it. It's not, if you only eat 1 meal a day, right? Or maybe 2 meals a day because, you ate that amount of protein with, your healthy fats and stuff like that, and you had some vegetables or whatever, maybe a little carbs too with that. And then that tided you over. So you weren't even hungry for lunch, and then like dinner comes around, so you have another one. And so you're naturally cutting your calories back. Now, as you start getting leaner, you'll notice, because you don't have as much reserves on your body, that your appetite might start coming up, and you'll actually need to eat that 170 grams of protein. And even like as you try to get leaner, to even maintain your lean muscle as you are getting leaner. So not to get all hung up on, wow, that's a lot of protein, but just think about, divide that into your meals, and that amount that you divided between 3 to 6 meals a day is the amount of protein that when you do get hungry, that's how much that you should be eating. So moving on from there, is that once you have gotten into shape and everything like that, a lot of times you're going to drop a lot of weight simply by just following these 2 tips without even having to track your calories or focus on too much on your calories. You're going to maybe lose 10, 15 pounds just doing these protocols just by themselves. And so then once you've gotten used to doing this and you are in shape, now all you have to do is just slightly reduce your calories a little bit while you are training. And so one thing is that I learned early on is that as long as I keep on putting food into my body, my fitness level will keep on increasing, and my body can just keep on going. You look at people doing 100-mile races, even sometimes longer than that. They're doing the Ironman triathlon and stuff. As long as you keep on putting food in your body can keep on going. So you have to ask yourself, well, what is a sustainable level of activity that I want to be doing, and how much activity can I actually count on doing on a weekly basis? And if the answer is, hey, I can do an hour of, working out 7 days a week, or, hey, I can do, 2 hours of working out, 5 days a week, and an hour, on the weekends or something, then, maybe you can keep those calories a little bit higher. What I find is useful is to more match what you're eating to what you plan on doing. So your goal of your exercise should be to maintain and or increase your lean muscle mass while remaining in this, and then after you've gotten more fit, you still maybe want to lose a little bit more body fat, then focusing on also staying in a deficit while you're doing that. And it's a lot easier to do that when you're focusing on having, the protein being the cornerstone of your meals, having some healthy fats with that, having some vegetables, and then having like starchy carbs, fruits, and sweets as kind of the icing on the cake after that, right? And so when you are working out, think about, okay, if I'm going to work out for an hour, I need to have enough fuel in my tank so that I actually run out of gas at the end of that workout. Not that I didn't have enough strength or I didn't have enough stamina to keep on going, but that literally there was no more gas left in the tank. If you think about like a towel, right? And if the towel is all, saturated with water and stuff, and you just keep on wringing it and you keep on wringing it out and you keep on wringing it out, right? And over time, that the towel is gonna get drier and drier and drier. And you think about your muscles being that way, right? You have the energy, from like glycogen, carbohydrates, and you have fatty acids and stuff in your intramuscular fibers and stuff. And when you're working out, just think about that's that towel that you're squeezing the energy out of, right? And you should deplete those energy stores by the time you're done with the workout. The only exception being if you are trying to get bigger, if you're trying to add mass, if you're trying to build more muscle. And I wouldn't recommend trying to add more muscle or build more muscle unless you are at least 10% body fat or below. When you are leaner, it's going to be easier to build more muscle because your insulin sensitivity is going to be higher. You're also going to be less likely to add fat to your body because any extra calories that you're using are going to be, more readily absorbed into the cells and going to be added on to helping you build more muscle and stuff. So other than that, if you're trying to maintain or if you're trying to lose, and especially if you're trying to lose body fat, you got to make sure that by the end of the workout, you've exhausted and depleted the energy that's in the muscles, and then adding that back in at the end. So have a little bit of protein, and that's actually a good time to have your carbs. So most of your carbs you want to have, in the time before you're going to work out, and then have a little bit of carbs to top it off after your workout. And then if you're trying to lose body fat, maybe your meals that are not close to either end of those things, you might just focus on, your proteins, healthy fats, and vegetables, and not have any form of concentrated carbohydrates in the form of starch, sugars, fruits, things like that. And that's going to help you to maintain that calorie deficit when you get a little bit more serious about dropping your body fat percentages. So in summary, the main goal of your workouts should not be to burn calories. Rather, it should be to maintain and or build lean muscle. And then you want to match your eating to what you plan on doing. So thinking about your food and the calories that you're taking in as being fuel for your body to perform at its highest level. And then if you are trying to lose body fat or even maintaining yourself, making sure that you've exhausted the carbohydrate fuel and the energy in those cells by the end of the workout, and that you only replace the amount that was actually burned off in the workout. And sometimes you might say, okay, how many calories does that need to be? It can be kind of hard to tell, right? Well, what I've found is that when you focus on eating those proteins, focus on eating so like for me, I'll have like proteins, some healthy fats and stuff. Usually because my diet is a little bit higher in fat and a little bit lower in carbohydrates, I'll have, protein with, maybe like 70% carbohydrate or 70%, fat, 50 to 70% fat with that after I work out. And then at my next meal, maybe I'll have a little bit more balanced meal where it's a little bit higher in protein, a little lower in fats, and maybe add some carbs in there too, depending on how hard I was working out. And when you do that, your body, at least I found it's a very easy way for your body to naturally tell you how much you need to eat. So rather than focusing on how many calories you're eating, this is another thing that I say all the time, is calories do matter, but it's more important what kind of foods that you're eating, because the kind of food that you eat is going to dictate how many calories that your body feels like it needs to eat. and how long you stay full after you eat, and then also how many cravings that you have for things like sugars and stuff like that. If you are giving yourself carbs and sugars, especially a lot of them, that's what you're going to crave later on. That's what you're going to be hungry for later on. But once you get those carbohydrate levels a little bit lower, once you get into that fat burning state, because in order to lose body fat, you need to lower your insulin levels, right? If you have plenty of carbohydrates in, sugar circulating around the system, your body's going to use that for fuel instead of the fat that's on your body. So you need to bring those carbohydrate levels down lower so that you can burn more body fat. So this video is getting a little bit long here. I might make another video in a little bit more depth on the specifics of balancing your hormones so that your body can naturally determine how many calories it should be taking in on its own. As I said, it's good to have a ballpark figure, an estimate of how many calories you should be shooting for, but beyond that, focusing first and foremost on the kinds of foods that you're eating rather than being so fixated on the calories. Because when you focus on the kind of food, the quality of the food that you're eating, and the balance of those macronutrients, your body will tend to fall more in line with where it should be, as opposed to trying to willpower and discipline yourself through everything. So hope that helps. If you'd like me to make another video a little bit more on the specifics of balancing your hormones through diet to help you achieve a more lean state and have less hunger and cravings, let me know in the comments below. If you like this video and you'd like to see more videos like this related to the things that I share on this channel, which is strength training, workout program design, how to get around and rehab from injuries that you might have incurred in the course of your athletic career, and also things like this related to diet, supplements, and maximizing athletic performance, then consider subscribing to the channel. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you all on the flip side.